Hey, how's it going everyone? It's your boy Blazing here, and in today's video is going to be a bit more informative. In fact, we're going to be talking about VR. So I'm just going to put these education glasses on so you know it's an educational video. Anyways, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Alright, so the term VR basically stands for virtual reality. Well, in fact, it does stand for virtual reality. Anyways, it was first used all the way back in the mid 1980s. Yeah, that's right, the same period of time where crack cocaine was titled the most popular drug.
Whack.
Now, the whole concept of a window into a virtual world is even older, dating back to the 1950s. Yeah, that's like right after World War II, man. That's how old it is. It was only in recent years, however, that VR started gaining more popularity as newer models are aimed to appeal to the everyday consumer. Now, since probably 99% of you guys already know what VR is, I'm just gonna skip the amateur bullshit and jump straight into the point. How has VR changed our perspective of reality and concepts of immersion? Well, the whole purpose of a VR experience is allowing the user to forget the real world and immerse themselves completely in a virtual environment. A complete VR experience would include using all of our five senses, which include sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Because of the rapid progress of technology these days, we can already manipulate all five of them. Now, there's a new VR mask out in the market right now. It's called the Feel Real Multi-Sensory Mask, I believe. You can search it up on Google. It can basically release smells, it can vibrate, and it can blast your face with air or mist. Yeah, I think it's from Japan as well. Like, no doubt. With all that being said, we still have a long way to go to reach the ultimate goal of VR, and that is total and complete immersion, an experience that's so real we forget it isn't. Now, with graphics technology these days, especially in like the gaming industry, for example, we can already foresee this reality from happening. Now, it's just a matter of time. Take, for example, the trailer for Unreal Engine 4. If you haven't seen it already, I will leave a link to that video in the description below. And so basically what happened is my friend showed it to me on YouTube and he put it on full screen so I couldn't see the title of the video. And when I first saw it, I thought it was a new Blade Runner sequel. That's how real the graphics looked. Now just think about it. When Pokemon Go first came out 3 years ago, AR took the world by storm. Now just imagine what will await us when the first globally popular VR game comes out. Maybe it'll end up like Oasis from Ready Player One. I hope so. Or not? I mean, the movie depicted a dystopian world in the future, so I don't really know about that. Now, VR isn't just about the head-mounted displays. They also include tracking devices which correspond to the user's orientation. Now, we still have a long way to go in this department, as right now, movement feels somewhat relatively fixed and doesn't really allow you to explore the world in an open world level. More advanced technology is needed to somehow pinpoint your location inside the virtual environment. Something like a GPS. Audio also plays a huge role in the immersion of the user. The sound needs to be just right and correspond to the actions that are happening inside the virtual environment. An explosion sound that's too delayed, too close, or coming from a different direction will likely ruin the whole immersion experience, as the brain will realize that it's an illusion. Now, according to a NASA report called 3D Sound for Virtual Reality and Multimedia, the distance, reverberation, and environmental context is very important. And in order to compensate this, advanced recording methods are already being used, such as binaural recordings and ambisonics. Alright, we've talked enough about this new reality we can immerse ourselves in. Let's look at the problems we might face in the future. As I mentioned before, the purpose of VR is a substitution reality to our current reality. Now that already raises some problems. A risk that can affect users in the future as VR becomes almost indistinguishable from reality is people might start to forget the real world or not being able to tell the difference between the two. This can affect us both mentally and physically. Now, according to an article by the Australian Academy of Science called Virtual Reality, Making the Unreal Real, written by Roger Essig and Michaela Ledwidge, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, the emotions you experience in VR is real, such as fear or happiness. For example, being jump scared by a teddy bear or creating emotional bonds with a fictional character. Now, as the article states, this on paper may seem like a viable solution to people suffering from ADHD, PTSD, or depression, but manipulating human emotions like this can create a mental toll, and it carries with you when you re-enter back into the real world. Now let's look at another example from the episode Playtest from Black Mirror. One of my favorite episodes, and I highly recommend you watching this if you're interested in this topic, as it explores how these virtual experiences may affect us on a visceral level, but of course with a sinister twist, as it is Black Mirror we're talking about here. As for the future, VR will very soon become almost identical to our real lives. We can also expect a huge leap in the gaming industry and the entertainment industry. Now the question is, should you brace yourselves for a future like it's depicted in Ready Player One, where people become so immersed in VR that they give up their real world lives to live virtually? Or should you look forward to it? Only time will tell, and let me tell you, it won't be very long. Now that's all I'm going to be talking about today, and I'll leave the rest to your imagination. It's your boy Blazing here. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.